Hi, I'm here with GPKNIVES here at SHOT Show 2022. Got about 15 knives in front of me that are coming out soon, and I'll walk you through most of these pieces. The first one I'm going to start with is the Ambitious. This is a lightweight. We call it a lightweight because it's injection molded. We do make a G10 version. It's not much lighter than the G10 version, but it's our lightweight. This is going to come in a bi-directional texturing like most Spydercos, 4-way clip. One of the things I like about our Ambitious is these full liners. It's going to give you some strength and rigidity in these knives. Because it's a budget-friendly knife, they're really built to use. And so that's a nice generous stock of steel. You'll notice that the liner lockup is very strong, and it's nice thicknesses there with the jimping and the 4-way reversible clip and the screw together construction, open back so that you can clean it out. It just lends itself very nicely for good hard use on a value budget folder, along with its brothers and sisters, if you will, the Tenacious, the Ambitious, the Resilience, and we're starting to offer these in more grades and colors. So continuing to expand our value folder series. Jumping into the next sets, I'm going to go over some Lil Natives. I have 3 of them here as well. I'll start with this lightweight. It's not quite on the market yet, but I thought I would preview it a little bit for GP. This is a lightweight for our Lil Native, and it truly is a lightweight. We reduced the stock thickness, and when you compare it to its G10 brother, you're going to see it's thinner, it's lighter. We went to a wire clip on this one. It also has no liners, which really reduces the weight. And with this back lock and the construction we have on it, it's going to give you great self-close, nice action, solid lockup, deep pocket wire clip, lanyard in there in case you want to tie something on there and get a little bit more length. This one is S30V, but in production will be BD1N. We might give it different flavors and colors as well. But super excited about the lightweight Lil Native on its way in the future. And continuing the Lil Native trend, this is a SLIPIT, non-locker. At 2.5 inches as a non-locker. This is going to be a nice friendly carry in a lot of different areas. We categorize it as a SLIPIT, so it's a one-hand open, non-locking folder that has a 4-finger choil or a guard for added safety, and it clips to your pocket. That's what deems it a SLIPIT in Spyderco's mind. This has a 4-way reversible clip. And it has no liners, and so those threads are inserted into the G10, which is going to keep the weight low, and it's going to give you versatility. Has that nice peel ply in there and that S30V, and so if you're looking for a smaller compact slip joint, the Lil Native is going to be tough to beat. Well, one thing you might notice too is this one has no mid stop. You know, in the world of slip joints, it's a big world. There's probably more slip joints made in the world today than virtually anything else. And how strong that is, the action on it, the self-close, it's its own world. This is a little bit different of a flavor than we do on some of our other knives, which, you know, I'm going to get into one later. This is the Urban in white. This does have a mid-stop. And so if you're getting into the slip joints, this has its own uniqueness. And then to take the Lil Native further, we have the Wharncliffe version with a compression lock and a wire clip. And so really a lot of diversity in this, completely different engineering on these. I really feel comfortable with the way this tip is placed and the edge of it. When you get into Wharncliffes, because you're going to notice we do more and more of them, the tip placement, the edge, the location of a Wharncliffe and how you get on that, I think Spyderco does a great job of their execution of Wharncliffes. Very acute, crisp tips. Great edges, nice and straight. And then with the compression lock, it's going to give you that detent, great action, solid lockup, deep pocket wire clip, open construction, peel ply. I mean, it just, you know, it's for 2.5 inches, American made. The Lil Natives are going to be tough to beat. So continuing on with natives in general, this is the Native Salt. We make a few of these. We also make one in an LC200N. This one is MagnaCut. MagnaCut is a fun fun new steel that's coming to age. Certainly some uniqueness in the way they've done the chrome in this one. I encourage you to learn about MagnaCut, but it's incredibly corrosive resistant as well as good edge retention and tough. For followers of Spyderco, I openly say it's not as corrosive resistant as H1. H1 is on its own platform, but that certainly doesn't make MagnaCut much less. It is incredibly corrosive resistant, but gives you that great edge retention, which is what we look for in steels. So we're going to launch it in a yellow handle with black hardware. You might see a lot of the black hardware these days. We just continue to refine it for things like corrosion. And so yeah, this is the MagnaCut Salt. Excited to bring this one to the market. MagnaCut's a fun new steel. To keep going, I'm going to jump into a sprint run. This is the Urban. This is a Ivory G10. This is a slip joint. We're working with Damasteel, so it is a Damascus that's etched. We worked with Fox and Maniago on this piece. It's hard to make. They did a wonderful job. We have jimping in here, always a challenge. It's got a full backspacer that comes all the way down. It's sanded with the Ivory G10. Always a challenge to get these things to have, perfect fit and finish and not get the white to get dirty. It has a nice, a good solid lockup here. For the traditional slip joint person, if you will, this is probably more accustomed to what they like. You can even hear it. This also has a mid stop, which a lot of people prefer. And then a good self-close, but all easy enough to open with one hand. So it is a SLIPIT, a one-hand open, non-locking folder, clip carry, safe to use. So yeah, very proud of this one. Maniago executed a beautiful piece. Getting into some utility self-defense knives. We have two I'm going to go through. One is by Michael Janich, one is by Massad Ayoob. Such a pleasure to work with both of these people. Spyderco gets great opportunities to work with some of the best. And so first I'll go over the Michael Janich YoJumbo. It's bigger than its predecessor, that's for sure, if you know the YoJumbo. So if you're looking for something bigger, I would certainly take a close look at this. Mike did a beautiful job in the design of this piece, the way that tip reaches out with that hollow grind. The grind line ends here and that tip continues. If you're going for pure slice, this is going to be pretty tough to beat. And with the YoJumbo, you can really get on top with your thumb or your finger. It's going to, give you a place to know where the blade is. His handle fits the hand wonderful. You can stretch out your fingers a little bit or even compact them in a little bit. But it fits like a glove. The compression lock we worked very hard on to make it strong enough to hold a blade this big. Whenever you get into an environment like that, you need a really strong lock on a knife like this. And so the compression lock brings that attribute to it. Nested liners, peel ply G10, 4-way clip, screw together construction. S90V. So this is a sprint run. We make the YoJumbo with S30V and black G10, but this will just be a S90V peel ply carbon fiber sprint run of the YoJumbo. So if you are a fan of the YoJumbo, this one's going to be tough to beat. And then this is also a sprint run. This is the Massad Ayoob in a gray G10. One of the great attributes of this knife is that pistol grip, that negative curve, if you will. When you have the knife in your hand, from your wrist to your thumb to that blade, it's just a beautiful straight line. And that's one of the things that Massad's very good with. Naturally, you can go reverse grip and other techniques with this knife. Fits the hand very well, and it's designed 4-way clip. With the back lock, it's secure. When this thing comes open, it's not going anywhere. The back lock is still a classic. Great self-close, wonderful action, full liners all the way down and around. So this is going to be a nice rigid, stiff piece, but we also kept it fairly thin. Though it has full liners, the liners themselves are fairly thin in what you're getting, also skeletonized in the G10 with a peel ply. And so this, with the gray, hides away fairly well. It's just an absolute pleasure to continue to work on a Massad Ayoob. And this one, if you know the Massad Ayoob family, was executed quite well, and we continue our CQI, continuous quality improvement. So made in Japan, beautiful piece. Also made in Japan, we have the Endela. This is a Wharncliffe. It will come in plain and serrated. This is a serrated version. Like Spyderco, we're continuing to offer more and more Wharncliffes as a flavor in a lot of our existing knives. Like I said before, we love our execution in the tip placement, the edges. Like our Endura and Delica family, bidirectional texturing, screw together construction, skeletonized liners, refined backlock, just absolute pleasure to carry. If you're looking for a user, the Endelas are tough to beat, along with their Endura and Delica and Dragonfly, even down to the Ladybug. It's a wonderful family of knives made in Japan with a great reputation. This is the Stretch 2 XL. This is kind of a historical piece for us. Going back a long ways, in the 80s we used to make a knife called the Hunter, which turned into the Provenator, which turned into the Stretch, which turned into the Stretch 2, which turned into the Stretch 2 Straight Spine Sprint Run, and now this is the Stretch 2 Straight Spine XL. So it just got bigger. One of the things that people like right out of the chute for this one is the old school tip. For a lot of Spyderco people, they're becoming more and more accustomed to a rounded tip. I don't have one in front of me, but on a lot of our knives we tend to round it out a little bit. And in the old days we had very crisp tips, and so with that straight spine and the way that tip comes out, a lot of people are very appealing to a lot of people. It fits the hand wonderfully, has a lot of length to it, so if you have a larger hand, four-way reversible clip, bidirectional texturing. One of my favorite parts about this though is it has no liners. We threaded those inserts from the inside right into the injection molding, and so it's going to have great grip, reversible, but weighs virtually nothing. And for a knife of this size, with this strength and this weight, it's tough to beat. Sure, it'll also come in other flavors at some point. Continuing the path, this is the Stovepipe, designed by David Rydbom. Wonderful guy, makes beautiful knives, has for some times. I encourage people to look up his knives. He makes a knife called Bill the Butcher. Tough name for Spyderco to come out with on the knife, so we changed it to Stovetop to be a little more politically correct probably. But it's a beautiful piece. He makes it in different sizes and shapes. This is the one we came to use for ours. Rounded titanium. The machining on this is just wonderful. You won't see a machining mark. It's absolutely precise on what it needs to be in its cuts and precision. It has a cleaver blade, much like a Wharncliffe, but this tip reaches out beautifully. If you really need to get in there and use a fine tip, it's a great tip for that. But if you need something with a little bit more stout and that tip reaching out, he did a great job on this. It's a Reeve integral lock, and it's got a nice, it's got good blade stock with good titanium stock, and so that interface is very strong. We think it's going to be a great interface. You can see the line up there, and so when you open it, you're going to feel nice and secure with that Reeve. For people that do also know Reeves, your hand tends to engage it even further with use, and so it's going to be a great lock. It should hold up fairly well with this piece. Custom pivots, custom clip. It has its own bead blasted finish. It really is just a gorgeous piece in its own right. And so if you're looking for something with a little bit more flair, stepping up a little bit in its materials and quality, this is tough to beat. And so yeah, the Stovepipe by Rydbom. Pleasure to bring it to the market. And then I have four more I'll cover real quick. These are Byrd brand knives. These are knives, if you're aware of Spyderco, we do make another knife line called Byrd. They have a slightly different shaped hole, which is also trademarked. These have a lot of the attributes you'll see in other Spydercos, but we work with different factories in China to try to bring a closer value to the brand. And so these use a bidirectional texturing like the other ones. One of the things with this bidirectional texturing is we use an oval, so it gives you a little bit of a different look, a different feel. These also have nested skeletonized liners, four-way clips. The backlocks are good backlocks. This is something that isn't easily found in this quality in China. And so we've worked with these guys to bring a nice high quality backlock that is going to give you what you need for performance. And so You know, if you're looking for a little bit more budget-friendly knife that brings a lot of the attributes that Spyderco has, the Byrd brand, along with the Caracara, the Meadowlark, the Harrier, the Robin, which is the family I showed you, and in Wharncliffe and other flavors, they're also a good one to have. So this is kind of what I brought to the table today to discuss with GP, and I hope some of it is something you like. Thanks for the time.